here, but actually going to go for the Varus, so guaranteeing essentially that one of these power picks is going to be open. So now the big question for Vitality is, do you still ban Ashe? Do you still ban the Annie and just kind of make sure that you're at least only giving one through, or guarantee one for yourself? But it looks like it should be probably the Annie selected here, but Patrick actually going to go over towards the Caitlyn.
Okay, so Patrick playing Caitlyn is a denial from Upset for yesterday, who I might go bold and say that Upset's Caitlyn was the first good Caitlyn that I've seen all year in Europe.
Yeah, I agree.
And Patrick is throwing the gauntlet down.
He clapped folks on that. Absolutely looking fantastic. And one of the big things as well is, because you're giving this Annie over, Annie doesn't like compositions that have a lot of long range in it, because she's very flash reliant on trying to get the CC down. She also doesn't have a huge amount of range in her kit. So if you're going to put her down into this bot lane, it actually becomes a little bit of an issue where you don't actually have the range to try and match the Caitlyn. So chances are this could be going towards Perks in the mid lane, but we'll have to see exactly what the game plan is.
So two interesting things about this. Zion Annie locked in. I want to highlight that for Patrick, with his over 220 games, he has only ever played 8 professional games on Caitlyn, of which he has won 3 of them. Okay, so that's already a risky start. For Kaiser, as far as I can tell, this is his first ever Annie, if that goes to his hands, because Perks could run in the middle lane, which is what we're seeing predominantly from the LCK.
Yeah, and now we're going to have to see exactly what the rest of the plan is, because as you were saying, look, Annie could go mid, but I think you've also got the opportunity to go for something like the Elise in the jungle. The problem is you don't really want a Annie and an Elise trying to set up through that mid jungle. It's a lot of AP, makes it very easy for the runes to come through where you can defend that. So I'm curious now if we actually do get to see the Annie go into the bot lane. The Elise comes out and goes, okay, well, I'm just stronger in a 3v3 that we can set up on bot side against something like a Maokai, and then we can actually play in to deny the push from the Caitlyn and make her useless in these early laning phases, if Vitality are thinking that.
What do you make of the Annie into Caitlyn Heimer? Oh, there we go, now it's confirmed. Perks Annie in the mid lane, Xayah Rakan in the bottom lane, so jungle pool could get hit, as well as potentially mid lane pool, as you can see Victor already banned away.
Yeah, I think if I'm Excel though, I'm targeting the jungle pool, right? You've already got the Vi gone, Maokai's taken. I think you do ban the Elise, just to talk, like talking about that potential to set up for the play on the bot side. Also maybe looking towards something like a Wukong as well, that could be quite strong, especially with that setup with the Rakan. But I'm curious to see exactly what the game plan is. Jarvan as well, actually incredibly strong at the moment, probably going to be one of the higher bans here.
Now, one of the things you do have to keep in mind for Xerxes Maokai, that huge AoE engage, as well as disengage, is going to be very, very impactful. Obviously, Upset on that Xayah will have that Featherstorm to be able to jump up and away, but Annie, Rakan, champions that really need to run at you, get into your face, that is a lot of tools they have to find ways around. We do see the Lee Sin banned away, and now Vitality, they pick another mid laner.
But I think that's the big one here. Vitality, yes, go towards the mid lane again, but I really like what Excel have as an opportunity right now, because if you look, everything that is on Vitality, you already said wants to run into them. Well, you know, Caitlyn, great long range. Heimer loves when you run into turrets. Maokai loves when you run into his ultimate. He's able to provide CC. And I even like the Orianna ban here from Vitality. I think that was going to be the next big point that I was going to say, is like, Orianna, fantastic into Annie in the mid lane, and also just plays into, hey, if you're going to run into me, this is so much zone control coming through. So nice job by Vitality to identify that. But things like the Victor are still going to be there for video. Things that can still do relatively well, outranging Annie and keeping that zone control.
I mean, that Victor was banned away just a second ago. I think crucially the Elise was still open, and instead right now Bo's hovering that Sejuani. Range is something I'm already starting to see as being a potential problem. However, if Vitality get in range, the amount of CC, AoE, and burst is gigantic. And this is a fairly squishy roster that's been put together from Excel so far. But again, it's going to be a battle of who can control the area and who can ensure that their crowd control or their range is used to their advantage. Either Jace or Cassio will fulfill both of those respective talking points, and it'll be locked in the Cassio.
Yeah, I think the Cassio is great for that disengage still, but he's going to struggle a little bit just because she's relatively shorter range compared to something like the Jace. And already you had a lot of magic damage, so I thought they might go for the Jace, but not actually going to be the case. Right now, though, you already can see the setup that Excel have. They're like, cool, we're going to play from range. We're going to absorb all this engage that you have in Vitality and make sure that then we can kind of kite backwards. So I think something like a Renekton here that is also enabled as players or teams are jumping into him is going to be fantastic.
I mean, Renekton will round out the composition here for Excel. Odo had a fantastic game yesterday, and just before we get this last pick, let's play a round of quick stats. When was the last time we saw a mid-lane Annie in the LEC? And this is not fair for a bro who's been here for like 7 weeks.
I mean, I'm going to 5 years.
3,000 days ago. It was played in 2013 by Alex Ish. Wow. That was the last time we saw a mid-lane Annie, and Perks will be running it today. The final champion locked in, and we quickly double-check on my client. This may potentially be a problem. It was a Tryndamere, which I do not believe is correct. I can see the players have just dropped out of the lobby, and while I wait for league officials to confirm to me what is happening.
Back to rock, paper, scissors.
Hold on. Let's not go off the rails immediately, because I still am reeling from my defeat to Johannes. But there will need to be one last champion locked in. I can see the players have dropped out for now. I will give you an update as soon as I can. But yeah, mid lane Annie for Perks.
Yeah, I think it's I like the flexibility that the Annie can give you, but I think what we've seen so far is that teams are able to kind of go look at it and go, okay, well, as long as we can play range and we're able to disengage, we should be in a relatively good spot against it. We've seen two very different styles from the Annie. I think Limit actually was one of the players that we saw playing far more aggressive on it, which I think is the way you should do. And if you look across at players like Knight and all this in the LPL, it's much more about, hey, I'm going to take whatever threat is on the enemy team and make sure I'm instantly throwing all my damage onto that target, whether it's a mid laner or an AD carry, to make sure they can have fun. But it becomes very difficult when that's a Cassiopeia or a Caitlyn.
Now, I have just heard that the final pick there from Vitality was a Jace. So my assumption being that Photon will be running the Jace in the top lane, Perks will be running the Annie in the mid lane, and both of these team compositions have got like insane AoE CC abilities. They've also got a fair amount of range in slightly different ways. Obviously, I think I lean more towards Excel's composition in terms of overall team comp range. You cannot deny the power of those feathers as well as the accelerated shock blast from Jace.
Also just gives a huge amount of burst to this composition. If Annie gets in on top of you, a full combo with Jace accelerated shock blast over the top, even just the Xayah burst that can come through when she has some feathers down, there's a huge amount that can come through very, very quickly here. So I think we're already kind of seeing the way that Vitality want to try and play this. It's, hey, we'll set up early round objectives, make sure that we're playing around our vision, denying access from Excel into these choke points, and if you can catch them as they're trying to enter things like River, that's where you can make your stand. Whereas on the opposite side, I think trying to play through the fact you have these strong lanes like the Caitlyn, like your opportunity for a Renekton, if you can land that CC in the top side, find those early leads, and then start to snowball the game to the point where it's so difficult for Vitality to actually deal with the range that you have.
All right, thank you so much, Dagda. I will admit I missed the last 40 seconds. I was speaking to production. I have heard that the players will be quickly dropping out of the existing lobby, redoing the picks and bans off camera. And as mentioned, the final lock-in was Jace. With a little bit of luck, if we have the manpower, I'd love to get the draft graphic on screen. Throwing production on the bus here, they are working through a lot of things. I have just heard it might be difficult. So I think we'll zoom out a little bit and maybe just focus on a few of the other elements. Let's talk about the fact both of these teams won their games yesterday. I think they won them in different ways, right? And I think specifically, Vitality just individually popped off, right? We had great performances from the bottom lane, Upset really showing off for their Caitlyn. He went 7-0-7. Perks on ASOL, he just had a bunch of free Goomba stomps with that Comet drop down, and there was no answer from Mad Lions. Conversely, I think XL had to work for their win against Fnatic. It was a slower game. It was a little bit more even match in the early game. So this is going to be another big test both for XL and also for Vitality to step up and show that winning ways.
Yeah, I think it was kind of hero performances on opposite sides of the map. I mean, Odo yesterday, phenomenal performance on the Cassante. He really did step up and was the carry for XL in getting these fights into position where they could bring it back against Fnatic. But as you rightly said, for Upset, he had a great performance against Vitality. And one of the things we saw from Perks was, if this ASOL is given time to farm up against something like a Shogat, where they're not really able to interact on side lanes, that's where you can start to have this ASOL become a big threat later on.
Yeah.
But I think a huge part of that discussion is the fact that Upset had control in bot lane. The fact that Photon had gone for the Darius in the top lane to control that. Now we have to see if a lot of these resources are going down at the bot lane to Upset, how does that affect Perks? How does that affect Photon, who are getting a lot more of those resources when we look back at Winter Split?
Dagda, I need more bold statements. We've had a best of one. You didn't make a decision. I can let everybody know at home that the draft has been started. We're several picks in already. It is taking place off screen. I didn't make it into the lobby this time, unfortunately, so I'm not watching it. I can't give you a progress update on that. What I will say, though, is let's briefly set some expectations for early game. My hope is, once this draft concludes, we'll load up onto the Rift. When I look at Bo playing on Sejuani, when I look at Annie, when I look at the Xayah Rakan and the bomb, I see a lot of options. I want to know from you, who do you think there'll be more pressure on to maybe get that ball rolling first?
Definitely Vitality. if you're playing a composition that has to basically bulldoze their way through Excel, you need to be the ones that are getting off the bat early. Otherwise, Excel are like, cool, you're running into Casio ult, Heimerdinger turrets, the big ultimate from the Maokai. It's so difficult to actually try and play out this game. So I think a huge amount of this pressure is going to be, Bo, see if you can get in towards Perks in the mid lane. Great point to click CC, set you up onto this Cassiopeia if you can burn some of those early summoner spells, and then see if you can transition that pressure down into dives on bot lane towards upset. You got great setup with this Rakan, and essentially just leave Photon to do his thing. He's against our Renekton, should be fine to just continuously push in that wave as long as the attention's elsewhere.
As long as the attention's elsewhere. Can Bo find the dive? Oh yes, we know that he can. Will he find the opportunities this game? That is what we're going to find out. Ladies, gentlemen, and everybody else, I can see Summoner's Rift loading on one of my screens behind the scenes. I want to once again apologize and thank you for your patience. Those technical issues that relates to the server and the player clients, the team is aware of them. They are working on them. And we are so sorry about the delay to game. I want to say thank you to everybody watching at home. I want to say to Berlin, huge shout out. Thank you for playing. Thank you for having some fun with me. And Johannes, you still suck, bro. We're going to hit the rift in just a moment as Excel will be taking on Vitality. And I love the setup there, Dagda. We talked about it from Bo. We're hitting Summoner's Rift at last.
And pause.
No, don't say that.
All right, Vitality trying to get into the bot side here. Heimer wants to try and get this deep vision so then he can actually set up for his turrets, and Vitality trying to read this, but Limit playing it very safe. So we'll have at least some turret set up in that second bush, but going to be playing a little bit more defensive in the lane to set things off.
I know Kadril likes to talk about the skins quite a lot, and Limit, all I can say to you is you people are all too young to know the movie Mars Attacks, but for the 5 people who've seen that film, you will appreciate it.
There was one laugh that I distinctly heard in the crowd. It was like, all right, you're that crew. You got it.
I genuinely think nobody's seen the film. Have you seen Mars Attacks?
No.
Oh my God. Yes. Thank you. There's literally 2 people. All right. Before I get too sidetracked, you can already see Patrick and Limit stepping forward, trying to set up those turrets. And as they trade back and forth, Patrick's a player that I'd love to talk a little bit about. He's playing the Caitlyn. He's challenging upset, stealing that pick away. First pick. I mean, you look at his performances from winter to spring, there is an improvement.
But the big thing is, yesterday it felt like they were still getting a huge amount of pressure towards them, right? They were getting dove in the early stages, and despite the fact that they still did fall behind in gold and also in their CS, I think the big talking point is more so that this was a case of them being forced out of the equation by the opposition, but also being dragged up towards things like Rift Herald, where they were losing out on CS and trying to play for the good of the team. So I think we still have a lot to see from Patrick and Limit, how this new duo is going to face up. And now when they've got a very strong dual lane to try and play through, this is where I want to see that tested.
And of course, it's up against 2 players who definitely impressed yesterday. Upset and Kaiser, they're playing the Lovers duo as well. Bo just being spotted by that ward. Something to keep note of. A little bit of information to Excel, allowing Patrick and Lim to continue stepping forward while Perks is threatening. And Incinerate, he's got that stun, got that Molten Shield as well. Got the ability to press forward. And I really like this pushing lanes. Pressure being applied, allowing XL to get a little bit of vision set up, and Bo should make his way down to this portion of the jungle or the rift. And this is exactly what you talked about, looking at Bo's potential decisions.
Look at this, though. Managing to move in towards this bot side on towards Xerxes. So trying to get in behind the wards that he's now set up. Limit has spotted that there is no jungler. It's been pinged out, so they know this is going to be a bit of a weird one. They should be ready for this, but I don't know if they are.
I don't know if they are. Oh, no. Here comes Bo! Waiting for the Arctic Assault, and Limit is the first target. Don't run! We are your friends, say Vitality. And first blood to Bo. Patrick's got some damage going back. The turret's helping as well. Below 100, but he can't step into 3. And Bo should be able to escape with his life.
He didn't have a ward to set over the wall either, so Bo was able to escape. And again, Bo has been so good at finding these moments to work around enemy vision, knowing that you already had Limit moving in to get that vision down. So nice job from Bo.
And exactly like you said, can Bo find the gank? Can he find the dive? Extremely easily, Dagda. Now we'll set up first blood to Vitality, a small gold advantage, a small CS advantage in that lane. We also caught a glimpse of Odo being jumped on. Kaiser and Upset now threatening damage onto Xerxes. Bramble Bash comes out, forces the flash, and Kaiser flies to safety. In what was a 2v3 eventually, Vitality get another summoner spell. Bo will not get vision from that ward.
And the problem here is that Perks has had complete push in mid as well. So now there's an opportunity where if Bo wants to, you just try and set up for another play on towards the spot side with Perks in tow. So River now starting to belong to Vitality. They just need to wait for that sweeper to come up on Bo to actually clear out some of the remaining vision that is there for XL.
I mean, Vitality going to be happy with that bottom play. Bo still sticking around in the bottom lane. Perks is taking a lot of damage from minions. Using the QW combo, he's running a little low. While that's going on, Bro has now started to step back and continuing to chase out Odo below 50. Yesterday, he got the solo kill. Cold the Meek brings him back alive. Photon bringing the hammer out, but not bringing it down because here comes the tree. Xerxes looking for a counter. Odo gets a level up. Mercurial hammer, the stun, the tower, the trade of 1-for-1.
The problem for Odo, though, is look at the size of that wave. You will be able to TP back in a couple seconds, but you're still going to lose out on a good amount of that wave, whereas Photon now can just walk his way back up, hold on to that TP as well. So really good job from Photon to get the trade.
Very nicely done. Small CS advantage, as you mentioned, +7 for now. Both teleports being expended, and Limit already roaming with that Heimer. Actually, you can see Kaiser going to be moving too, stepping forward as Vitio spits out those fangs, and it's another game starting out high intensity, lots of action.
Yeah, at the moment, I think Video's doing a good job of trying to get control back of this lane. One of the big things about Anani is that she uses, as you can see, her Q to get that reset. Every time she kills a minion, you get the mana reset as well. So that's how she tends to push the wave. But if you can actually get her to trade very heavily and then heal up afterwards, her mana costs are surprisingly high and she'll burn through her mana pool. But now TPing back into lane, we'll have to see if Video can once more keep that control with that level advantage as well.
He's down 6 CS for now. Those early stuns working out. Patrick, 90 caliber nets beautifully to safety. And Kaiser and Upset have got a pretty big wave that they're pushing forward. Just as we have a brief moment, I want to highlight Odo, as he will be the recipient of another gank. 8 KDAS, a 72% kill participation. I think crucially, those solo kills in the 1300 gold early game were crucial for XL in their match against Fnatic. Right now, under threat. You can see the 2v2, the slice, the dice. Dominus buys some time, manages to find the stun, but here comes the little sapling. Little pop on Bo, and Xerxes, only level 4, cannot commit. Odo, sorry bro, that was a caster curse, gets taken out.
Poe's just been everywhere. Ban and bot now up towards the top side as well. And Patrick!
Oh, that was beautiful from Kaiser. The feathers flying. Kaiser gets dropped by the spanner. It's a 1-for-1, but the kill goes to Upset. And Perks is level 6. Where's Tibbers? Holding on to it for now, not going to go underneath the tower.
Yeah, still, you can see the Perks wants to try and get these roams off, trying to play down towards Upset like we talked about, and it's so unfortunate for Patrick getting caught out just in the edge. Perks is walking back, though. Limit doesn't know.
Oh, where's Summon Tibbers? Where's Tibbers? Drop down, the feathers out, and Limit will be taken down by Upset. Beautifully done. 5 kills to Vitality, 2 for Photon, and 2 for Upset.
And you can see Bo had even moved in towards mid lane to try and cover the push that Video might have gone for. But Video had actually left to try and cover that bot lane play, so you don't actually get a response where maybe you can try and push in, move towards topside or anything like that. So nice job thus far from Vitality, just outpacing XL on the map.
And of course, what we have seen from the few games this spring, once the teams begin to accelerate that pace, and take control, you have to find a way to stem the bleeding. It's going to be another fight, 2v2 in the top lane. Hammer will knock Odo away. The flail comes up. Both junglers level 5. Arctic Assault into the accelerated shock blast, and this is just beautiful. Boton taking 2.
That's a lot of bleeding. That's a significant amount of bleeding that is now happening for XL. I think they might have done the exact opposite of trying to bandage that. Even look, again, Video trying to roam up towards topside. He'll be able to catch the wave, but Photon already firmly in control. Bot lane firmly in control. There is just winning across the board for Vitality.
I mean, if Jack Nicholson were watching this game, he'd say that Vitality have 2 out of 3 branches of government working for them, and that's not bad. I won't keep doing Mars Attacks quotes, I promise, but it was a great film. Vitality right now are shutting down the aliens. The opposite of what happened in that film. They're up 3k gold, they've got the Herald, they got 5 kills, and this is starting to look very scary because if that damage is continuing to accelerate ahead, this relatively squishy roster from XL will just get blown up before they can start any fights.
And I mean, this is so good for Vitality fans as well. If you think about it, you bring in upset, suddenly you absolutely smash your game yesterday. Now you're coming in again today and looking absolutely fantastic. This feels like a newly revitalized Vitality, and you're going to have to see if they can try and keep this up now for the remainder of the split, because we got to see this at the start of winter, but they couldn't quite bring it the full way through spring.
They couldn't, and Vitality were unable to secure that dragon. I think a cheeky play from those Heimer turrets will be at least one of the objectives going the way of XL. And that will be a small saving grace, delaying at least one of those win conditions from Vitality. But I think take a look at Upset. He's got the Herald in his back pocket. 4 members of Vitality were making their way towards that bottom lane. So, Dagd, if I were a betting man, I think they're going to look at that bottom tower. But once again, Photon is just dunking on Odo. He's plus 20 CS. He's got a 300 gold bounty already.
And the problem now is that you actually can't move in here to the bot side as XL just yet. You still don't have control over mid. You're now being pushed away because Bo are in your the second bush here. So Vitality get the easy charge. You won't take the tower, but it's still now more gold going over towards Upset.
Yeah, small CS advantage. 1,000 gold lead. It's the 2 kills as well as those plates. And Upset again having a very strong early match. I mean, yesterday plus 700 at 14, plus 7 CSD on that Caitlyn. And with the help of Bo, let's not forget that fact. He and Kaiser have been doing a great job of controlling this bottom lane.
And it feels bad for Patrick and Limus. These guys where you're saying, hey, look, you've got a great matchup here. Should be able to push. Anytime they jump in, you should be fine. But the fact that you get Bo in early completely changes the dynamic. And now you can't quite step up because Upset does have so much damage that can pop out.
The thing is, in my head, I almost hold Patrick and Limit a little bit accountable, because during the draft deck, you talked about some of the options, how Bo could, maybe wants to look down bottom, and they still got caught out once again. And this means that VTO stepping forward, he's still got that flash available to him, waiting for the prison, not going to need it just yet, and VTO actually held on to his flash, so he survives that gank. Here comes Xerxes. Nature's Grasp is available, but not used, and this will at least hold the wave. It'll force Upset and Kaiser back. And Bo, with that ultimate available, there could be a fight.
You have to see if he can get perks down here as well. Bo has been separated, waiting for his mid laner to try to come down. Now, pushing forward.
Oh, that's the stun onto Xerxes. The trap, and all of a sudden, Nature's Grasp buys some time. Look at the sapling going forward. Patrick sidesteps the feathers, and those traps not going to be enough for Bo there. These 3 members of Vitality winged a lot of damage, and they escape with their lives. Teleport. Okay, Photon was going top lane, so Vitality get away with their lives.
The trap from Patrick was so important there, though, preventing Kaiser from following up. That could have been a disaster. Now Bo will move back in towards River. You have Perks who could try and move down if Xerxes overextends here.
Well, Xerxes is going to use that advance. Bramble Smash comes out, and Bo will back away. Xerxes steals the scuttle from under the nose of Bo. Another small win. It is still a significant advantage. 3,500 gold. Odo continues to be bullied. 2 plates already down. 30 CS down. And we're 2 minutes away from this next dragon. So I wonder whether or not XL will try sneak it, or if Vitality want to contest.
Just a really interesting point. It's actually Gore Drinker Jace in the top lane, which is traditionally not what we actually see, but we usually go towards Eclipse. You want to look for the poke, you want to look for the plays, but it says to me that Photon is worried about having Odo and Xerxes just immediately dive in on top of him. So once that extra healings, which is going to be a bit of a weird one. I haven't seen this a huge amount, but I'm looking forward to seeing how it actually pans out against a front line where, in theory, Photon's going to get a lot of damage thrown his direction.
I mean, in terms of Photon as well, the fact he's got 3 kills, the fact he's this accelerated, 1,400 gold over his lane opponent. Similar stories pretty much across the board. 1,000 for Bo, just a minus 300 there for Perks. This top and bottom lane has run away with the game. One thing that you do have to keep in mind, VTO is still relatively even. If he can find that Petrifying Gaze, if he can avoid those shock blasts, which will be a challenge, bearing in mind, VTO may be called upon to claw back some of these fights for Vitality, as we are 45 seconds from Drake. Another potential 2v2 in the top lane.
XL need to find a way to disrupt the vision control from Vitality and getting towards objectives first. Because if you have to try and find that win, it becomes very difficult with the control Vitality have.
Well, right now, Xerxes is going to take a shock blast. Minion wave is chipping away at the tower, and Bo's just there threatening. Look at the bottom lane. Look at the bottom lane. Oh man, Limit, no flash available to him, and as Jack Black said in the film, die you alien shithead, taken down! As Perks will assist another kill for Upset. And unfortunately for XL, they have no information, they have no answers, and they keep getting caught from flanks.
And now you have the top side pushing in as well. Photon and Bo going to make sure they get that one too. So Perks helping out his bot lane, helping out the top. And yes, Video will be fairly strong. The fact he's getting the CS and he's getting some of these turret plates, but it's just so small compared to the rest of Vitality.
And this is probably going to open up a dragon here. If Vitality stick around, do they concede it? Tibbers will finally get taken out. Patrick's got that Bloodthirster. Here comes Video as well as Xerxes. Nature's Grasp is available to them. Instead, they're going to try sneak the dragon. Vitality have to know this. They have to have a feeling. All of a sudden, Patrick is in trouble. 90 Caliber's going to get interrupted. Forced to cleanse. Forced to flash. Stays alive just long enough. Kaiser's going to be the target as the dragon secured there by Xerxes, the second of the game. Bo and Xerxes fighting in the river, and Kaiser's the first target as Vizio. Twin Fang off the Twin Fang. Knocked up into the air, but he will be taken down as Kaiser is dropped. Now XL running for their lives. They get the dragon. They get the kill, and that is crucial for their hopes in this game.
The fact they managed to sneak that is massive. Vitality want to try and play around Vision at objectives. You know, 2 dragons, so you can essentially ignore 2 dragons that Vitality go for in the next 15 minutes, and you can actually start to make plays elsewhere on the map. Even if you're trying to look at things like Rift Herald as well, the fact you get that kill, you can get the quicker reset, Video even TPing into the mid lane to help secure that. This should be at least objective control still going the way of XL, and it's a nice start here coming through for Vitality, where Kaiser gets the knock-up, but they don't really have the follow-up. Patrick with a good cleanse, and then the ultimate over the wall from the Maokai, slowing Vitality's advancement. And from that point forward, there's very little that they can do. Even you can look, Perks just doesn't really have the damage right now because his Rod of Ages hasn't stacked up.
And 2 thoughts about this one. Number 1, if that Flash and Cleanse is available for Patrick, you can see Caitlyn's kit can be problematic. They are not for the next few minutes. Secondly, Vito has been sidestepping a lot. He's been under pressure from Upset. There's been some pressure from ganks in the middle lane, and he has spat out the damage. So yes, it is a 5,000 gold deficit. Yes, it is a gigantic challenge to claw that back, considering the mid-game power of Vitality's composition. But if you believe in XL, you need to see Patrick staying alive in the fights and Vito dishing out that poison.
Right now, though, they need to try and cross-map for this. You really don't want them actually trying to trade. You need them to be moving down towards this side to look towards this tower on the bottom side. So then you're not actually playing towards the fight, playing around the vision that's already been set up for Vitality. Not really seeing that at the moment, though. They're still playing up towards this top side. Vitality get the objective. XL can't really contest, and they don't have the push in mid to lean into that bot side.
No, right now, Vitality with 2 towers to their name opened up the map. A level advantage for Photon. That gold lead continuing to spiral. The rest of Vitality in the middle lane, applying pressure. They're going to drop the Rift Herald. Perks has got the flash available to him. He's got Summon Tibbers as well, and Bo also has the ability to just lock someone down with that prison, which he does. Photon shoots the shock blast over the wall, and it's literally shooting Excel spreadsheets in a barrel.
And that's the great example of what you need to be worried about as XL if you're trying to enter in towards any of these river or objective areas blind. The amount of CC Vitality has is insane. We might get a take 2.
Oh, the quickness! The 2-man knockup! The third-person charm! XL are excellently eliminated in the middle lane. 3 kills for Vitality, and they just step back away. That was gorgeous.
They are slamming Control Z, hoping they can redo that, because that was not the way you want to play this. Vitality, that was so well executed. And again, if you are giving them the opportunity to set up like this, it's so hard for XL.
I mean, look at Upset. 404, opponent not found. Absolutely dominating once again. 2,000 gold is the bounty, but frankly, the entire team is coordinating well.
And Perk 006, 1 assist away from you making another terrible joke. But Vitality, great setup here. Kaiser going underneath the tower. Limit the only one that gets to flash away. They're going to get mid-tower as well. And again, XL, the trying to limit how much you lose versus trying to play the map state better and trying to say, hey, look, we can at least trade even and find our ways into a better position isn't really there. And I think that's why Vitality have been able to snowball this so effectively.
I mean, hey, well done on that one. Limit how much you lose. But Vitality have just had a fantastic showing. And I think when we were preparing for this game, I was talking yesterday about how individual players impressed me, and I want to see how the team coordinates. I think they ran away with gigantic leads. The way that you've seen Bo punishing XL's lane positions, lane management, has been fantastic. The roams from Perks, the roams from Photon. We're only 18 minutes in, and it has felt as though the mobility of Vitality as a team has punished every positional decision that XL have made.
And it's actually why I've really enjoyed Upset coming into the team, because it feels like now as Vitality, you have two side lanes to play around. Perks has traditionally started to tend more towards these supportive roles as he's continued on his career. So something like an Annie going to be fantastic. We see a very similar story from Caps on G2, right, with Malphites and Zax and all these weird kind of fancy picks. But it is the same idea. I am going to play for sides. I'm going to play smart on the map and make sure I'm covering so my side lanes can't carry. And we're seeing Perks pick up a very similar role in this new Vitality as well.
And of course, when you look at the itemization that all of Vitality picked up because of the advantages
here
they've accrued, they are just dominating. I mean, Limit is taken down for the 5th time this game. The Dragon is, I mean, we literally have golf claps in Berlin from just how easy that was to pull off. But look at the itemization differences. 1, 2 across the board. Photon just got that Mirror Mana completed. He's level 13 right now. 3,000 gold of Vitality's 8,000 gold lead is in Photon's hands. And now they're playing for Infernal Soul. So add a potential 4 Infernal Drakes to this high damage composition, and XL will not be able to stay alive long enough.
What do you mean? It sounds so easy.
I mean,
it's great, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah, you've got everything you could want, but XL gonna try. This is a Hail Mary of all Hail Marys.
Do you know what a burger flip is?
Yeah.
This is a burger flip. XL are inside, but do they have the time? Teleport's available for Perks. Teleport's available for Photon.
Yeah.
Do they have the wards? They're making it. Oh no! Is it happening?
They did it.
They did it. XL have snuck the Baron. Can they get away with their lives? Accelerated shock blast damage can come down. They do it. They've got out alive. That is a fantastic sneak. Vitality slow to the play, didn't have the vision, didn't react quickly enough. And look, let's not overblow this. XL is still significantly behind, but this will be a great ability to pause or slow down the next few minutes.
And great understanding of the composition from XL. Cassiopeia, Heimer, all this massive amount of damage that can be churned out immediately is going to take down that Baron so quick. And Vitality caught with their pants down. It was only like 30 seconds after it spawned, so really nice job from XL. This will help them defend a lot of these outer turrets and buy them time in this game.
I mean, XL were in the pit before Baron spawned, so they knew that was the play. Patrick's cleanse already used. That is very important. All of a sudden, Vitality start to apply deeper pressure. 3 towers secured. Now, I still think the odds are incredibly low as Odo is going to be the target of 3 members of Vitality. Quickness has been used. Dominus thrown down. The feathers out. The root is secured. The stun. And that's a new pair of blue suede dragon boots. Or crocodile boots, rather, for Vitality. If XL want to claw this game back, they cannot keep giving up these kills. Patrick, no cleanse available to him. Photon's coming around. His Nature's Grasp will at least delay and slow down a little. Patrick's still got the flash available to him, and Vitality, frankly, don't care about Baron buff.
Great stun from Limit. Uses the Heimer ult to stop the rest of Vitality from coming through the jungle, but still have to be careful because Perks was hovering over the wall. That flash Tibbers could be very scary. Does buy the time to take top tower though, so at least XL are getting something back on the map.
Okay, so 2 questions here. How do XL claw this deficit back, and how much do you hold them responsible / accountable for being flanked from behind so many times this game?
Yeah, I mean, definitely that was not the call from Odo on that bot side. You don't have much vision in that bot side to make sure that you're spotting out where Vitality are coming from, or at least how quickly Vitality can make it down to that bot side. And even with the TP from Perks, he's just completely caught out. The rest of XL, though, I think you just need to slow it down and trade smartly around the map. Next Dragon, 2 minutes. I don't care. If I'm on XL's side, I want to use that time to get mid-turret, to potentially set up a top tier, or tier 2 top take as well after that push. So try and get your wave set up now in the next minute, so then you're looking going, okay, we can start to slow build these waves. Like, even look at how Photon's going to be pushing in this top side, right? As this wave pushes in, if you can freeze underneath the tower, start to create this small push, so then as this starts to come back out, you've already got these waves that are set up nicely for you to follow the push from up into these and then immediately follow, so you can follow towards the tier 2.
Try to keep an eye for me on the vision as well. If XL step forward, if they manage to get towards the river or even towards one of those outer turrets, I want to make sure they've got the defensive wards to avoid being flanked. Luckily for XL, both teleports are on cooldown for Photon and Perks. Odo has his up, Vito will have his available sooner. And with the fact they got 2 early dragons, that actually is a crucial stall, timer, pause in terms of how quickly Vitality can continue to accelerate towards a win. As right now, Bo is going to use that Arctic Assault, pulls Xerxes far away. There's no support really from either squad. And with 50 seconds to Dragon, I think it would be a bold call if XL wanted to contest it. I don't suspect that they will.
No, you just don't have the setup right now. Cassiopeia is quite strong at the moment. She does have her 2 items fully completed and fully stacked, so that could be something. The BT and the Infinity Edge also pretty nice, but look at where Video is. This is what we're talking about. They want to try and trade this for pressure on towards the tier 2, but without having fought for mid-prio first, they can't help Video on the top side.
I mean, Vito's got a 30 CS advantage over Perks. He currently 0-1-0 level 16 as well, a 2-level advantage because he's just been left alone in the side lanes. This slithering snake is going to be crucial, maybe the only determining factor, as well as Patrick's Caitlyn. Kaiser was looking for the flank. While this is going on, the tower is defended. XL buy more time. Tower is under threat in the top lane. So the wave is now cleared out, and Vitality can step backwards for Dragon. Exceptional vision toggle from our observers. To show that XL simply cannot risk stepping into the darkness. As expected, they don't contest the Dragon, concede this one, and Vito may be able to pick up that tower.
I don't know if he will be. He actually didn't build up the wave enough, and Perks is now up here. This is, well, actually just about to be able to take it, but Perks, whoa, just wide in the ultimate. Look at Kaiser, though, on his way up, and it looks like the rest of Vitality might be coming as well.
Teleport's available for Vito. Petrifying Gaze is available for him. Continuing to run for his life. Kaiser's only level 9. He cannot afford to get hit by those twin fangs. The quickness is dropped. The blue ward is dropped. The thumbs up is thrown. The knockup is there at Vito. Not going to be able to find the target just yet. He's holding on to the ulti. I'm waiting for how many members to get his stun, if at all. And Bo's just going to face tank this one. Finally will be taken out as Vito doesn't even use the ultimate. What else can XL do? They're catching some waves. They're putting some pressure. It is a 45-second death timer. Teleport is on cooldown, and Baron's up in 30.
Tried to TP out of there, so now that TP gone, this is where Vitality can reset and look to set up for the Baron. Odo trying to see if he can now make a cross-map play, get something on the bottom side, but Vitality starting to group around the mid lane, trying to see if they can push mid to get vision on this top side. TP from Perks.
If you are XL, you cannot be in a position where Baron empowered minions are pushing into your inhibitor turrets and Photon is taking pot shots. 6 1-1, 3 completed items, 700 gold bounty. And right now XL, they're conceding Baron, they can't challenge it. Great split screen is that at least get an inner turret, and I think they'll be forced to back away. Those enhanced recalls will put them under threat. While that's going on, Perks is applying pressure to the top inner turrets.
And they should be able to get this, so essentially you're trading tip for tap when it comes to towers, but you now have the Baron in tow for Vitality. So this reset also going to give them the opportunity to start sieging up towards the mid lane as well. You're going to have Photon, who can also siege up on bot side. He's incredibly strong at the moment, so there's a lot of issues now for XL in trying to keep this Baroned up Vitality at bay.
Man, they've got to be so careful. XL are still significantly behind. 2 dragons apiece, 3 minutes until the next one. I think crucially, at least as far as Odo and Patrick are concerned, they're starting to claw back that deficit, but Upset's got a full item advantage. Actually, that's just been balanced out. Patrick now, Mythic as well as IE and Bloodthirster. Quick Blades, Gale Force and Bloodthirster for Upset. 5 members of Vitality are grouping up. Okay, team fights here. For XL, they've got a lot of AoE. If they can survive the burst from Photon, maybe the Nature's Cross can turn around, but they're down in levels and they are still down in items.
XL are trying to get mid-prio, but Vitality are like, cool, we can still match with Perks, and we're just buying space for Photon on the bot side, so they're not even looking to try and fight right now. It's just Vitality playing this map very well, drawing their line of scrimmage and saying, hey, look, now we've got bot turret, we can easily take over this jungle and then start to put pressure onto mid.
Perks has got flash available to him. Bo is once again engaged upon. Patrick drops the trap. Tibbers comes down, cleanse, 90 caliber, and Patrick is running for his life. Xerxes is cut down in the jungle, and the hammer almost kills Limit. Odo's running for his life. The accelerated shock blast will not find its mark, but it is an easy kill. Now Kaiser gets chunked at least a little. Petrifying Gaze is huge. The shutdown for Patrick is so pivotal. Can XL continue the hold? The petrifying gaze comes out, the feathers fly. Upset gets away with his life and holds on to the flash. Upset's godlike gets yet another. And Vito and Patrick are hurt and they are running for their lives.
There's many runs that you can go for, but it feels like Vitality are just going to run you over anyway. Inhibitor in the bot side, they're going to go for the reset. I wasn't sure how risky they wanted to go, if they wanted to just try and go for a quick end, but they will respect it. And at this stage, XL, that bleeding is completely out of control.
I mean, the fact that they were even able to pick up some of those kills is really important, but they are consistently behind. This fight started out, I was very scared Patrick was just going to get blown up.
I mean, I like the idea from XL going for the pick, trying to see if they can contest Vitality as they go for vision, but Vitality are already here. Then you're going on to the tankiest member, so it becomes very easy for Bo to tank up any of that damage and immediately escape, only to set up for Vitality who are collapsing from both bot and mid. This is the power of having that control with both the bot tower gone and that mid tower under pressure.
And of course, during the draft, that Zyra Khan lock-in, the Featherstorm being used to perfection. Upset still has his flash available to him. And for anybody that watched yesterday's game, Upset went 7-0-7 on the Caitlyn. Today he's 7-0-5. In these 2 games back on the LEC stage. 14-0-12 is phenomenal. And exactly what Vitality were looking for, I think, during the course of Winter Split. As a team, didn't necessarily look on the same page fairly frequently, and Neon, unfortunately, didn't really deliver similar impactful performances as did last year. I'm a lot more impressed with what I've seen from Vitality today, and they are once again looking to set up the flank. Flash is available. Tibbers is available. Patrick is in trouble. He's got no flash, no cleanse. Nature's gone berserk. Here comes the teddy bear. Let the feathers fly and destroy XL. 2, 3, 4 kills already, and the ace for Vitality. At 30 minutes in, it is done. XL have been beaten this entire time, and Vitality will look to close it out.
The wave is coming in bot side. They're just going to go and collect it. Bo tanking up the tower so everyone can get through, and they're going to be able to finish this one off. Vitality, a fantastic time here.
Unkilled Bo in the jungle. Unkilled Perks in the melee. Unkilled Upset in the bot lane, and undefeated in the spring split. Vitality go 2-0.
Vitality look ruthless in spring. Having Upset coming into that bot side, adding another threat to already what was a stellar team, is now proving very, very difficult to deal with.
I just can't get the voice out the back of my head. So many of the advantages accrued in the early game came from a member of Vitality walking behind members of XL, and I didn't look close enough at the wards, to look close enough at whether or not I give all the praise to Vitality or I blame XL.
The big thing for me is this is a team that feels like, look, I only knew here, it feels like top esports to me. It's a triple threat team. You can basically win through any 3 of these lanes, and the fact you know of Bo, who also is a fairly stellar carry jungler himself when the time fits. It feels like you have so many avenues to attack as Vitality, but you've also got people who are willing to take the back foot.
Yeah.
People who aren't are saying, hey, look, I don't have to be the carry this time, and that becomes such a big win for this squad when you have so many ways that you can actually play the game, so many avenues to find a victory.
Yeah, very, very interesting, very impressive performance to start out the day for XL. On the other hand, simply didn't get away with it, didn't run away. That first pick, Caitlyn, didn't deliver today. If you're watching at home, Player of the Game nominees at LEC on Twitter. Photon, Bo, and Upset are your nominees. And if you have been sticking with us for the entirety of the delay, I will once again just apologize for the delays. As mentioned, those clients and server issues caused us a big pause.
Un game incredibilmente combattuto. Ja, 2-0 per loro l'inizio di questo Spring Split.
Bella partita, veramente bella. Per un attimo ho temuto, perché comunque va dato atto agli XL dopo un early game terrificante da parte, non tanto da parte loro, da parte dei grandi Vitality, del fatto che hanno tenuto un po' a galla il mid game per quanto possibile, con le loro decision making, mandando una volta Patrick da un lato, una volta mandandoci scusatemi, Vitio, una volta Odoanne. Hanno cercato di tenere in piedi la baracca, però era veramente cercare di rattoppare una nave che stava già prendendo tanta acqua all'interno della sua stiva. E è stata una vittoria abbastanza inevitabile da parte di Vitality, per come si è messa dal minuto 1.
Sì, sono... Mi trovi d'accordo, Avevano una buona composizione, avevano un buon piano di gioco e il fatto che tutto sia andato dalla loro così in fretta non ha fatto altro che consolidare quell'idea. Purtroppo non c'era neanche una grandissima rete di sicurezza per la squadra invece degli Excel. La loro composizione certo poteva funzionare bene, ma non benissimo una volta che le cose iniziavano ad andare al lato avversario. Purtroppo Caitlyn Heimerdinger è una lane che vuole fare da lane forte. Cassiopeia certo ha la sua possibilità di scaling, ma quando gli avversari riescono a giocare su quella lunga gittata in maniera efficace come Jace poteva dimostrare, e poi una volta arrivati sulla breve gittata non hai modo di rispondere ad un engage, a una catena di controlli, a tutta quella grandissima minaccia che rappresentavano Annie, Rakan e Sejuani, diventa
Yeah. Right. Congratulations, everyone at home that guessed Ziggs. We'll see if Ziggs is picked in this game. It won't be.
It won't be, but we'll see.
We had a
The
nice
classic
little
caster
aside
saying,
as we waited to get into
we
the game.
will see.
So, SK on the blue side, Fnatic on the red. Varus, Caitlyn bans immediately. No real surprises here. Annie is the key talking point of this weekend of the LEC alongside perhaps Aurelion and Soul. We'll see if SK want to save first pick for that Annie or whether Fnatic will ban it away.
Aurelion Sol will in fact be removed by SK. They don't want to run the risk of Humanoid getting his hands on that. Fnatic looking to continue the trend that we often see on red side, the removal of Caitlyn and Ashe. Of course, Maokai has dramatically dropped off in terms of priority ever since the recent patches, so no real surprise to see that falling away from the ban table. The Xayah, though, trying to take that out of the hands of Reckless, does suggest that SK is looking for perhaps a jungle first pick. Of course, the Annie is up and available, and that's going to be banned away by Fnatic. So let's have a look and see what their priority is. Irrelevant did play an incredible amount of Jax last split. It was SK's go-to blind pick. It was something that teams later caught on and started banning a lot more against Irrelevant specifically, but the Vi is going to be locked in. Yesterday we did see the Vi plus Rakan combo come out from Marcoon and DOS to great effect, but it was really Certus and Irrelevant, that Akali and Gnar in the team fights that came up clutch for SK versus BDS that allowed them to bounce back.
And Fnatic obviously yesterday struggled a lot against XL. Oscar in his debut had a poor performance into Odoamne, getting beaten out by that Cassante quite often. Zeri and Sejuani already locked in for Fnatic, so very much looking like a draft that could have taken place in winter season so far. Now SK will look down towards their bot lane, likely AD carry support here. Aphelios Thresh still open, and Exakick, a very well-known Aphelios player. Only played it once in winter, but last year, all his time in the LFL, he has been an absolute fiend on this champion.
For sure, something that he's very comfortable on. Of course, Exakick didn't have the funnest time in the early game yesterday. Yeah. He was attacked a lot, but he was able to bounce back in the mid to late game team fights. His team did a good job of setting him up for success. We will see DOS now lock in his Thresh, and the tried and true Aphelios Thresh combo will be secured. I wonder if we will see the Lulu come out from the side of Fnatic, or if we will see something a little bit more unique here from AdVN. He does have the option to, well, often we'll see things like Heimerdinger, maybe even a Nautilus, but when paired up with the Zeri, you want to have a little bit more priority in that laning phase. So unsurprisingly, we'll see the Heimerdinger paired up alongside it. Now, something we keep seeing from Fnatic, Razok on Sejuani, and then no follow-up.
Yep.
I want to see some type of follow-up, something that if he's going to start a fight, there's something that can reliably follow up on his engage.
So what are you thinking? Azir jumps into my mind for Humanoid, if you can get
maybe.
it. Gragas as well would have been able to do that, but Fnatic have banned out Gragas themselves. Even a top laner like a Sion or an Ornn gives you some engage potential.
Here's my problem. What I think Fnatic is about to do is they're going to they're going to lock in Cassante as a safe blind. And then they're going to lock in something like an Azir.
Yeah.
And I think that gives you a lot of range, and it's like a fairly well-rounded, safe composition. But I think that when it comes to these 5v5s, Fnatic, one of their biggest issues has been their coordination when it comes to the team fights, setting up for objectives, playing around objectives, and overall anything really past the laning phase. So I have my concerns around the direction they'll take with the draft. Of course, I could be wrong. We'll see. Nah is actually going to be banned away by Fnatic. I wonder if this does open up Oscar in for something a little bit more carry-orientated.
Yep.
Maybe they want to play through topside for a change. Maybe we'll see something a little bit more creative from the Fnatic squad.
I mean, the problem with playing through topside against SK is how good Exakick and DOS are if SK give them any attention in the early game. So if you're playing topside and then Exakick has 1,000 gold lead on Reckless, it becomes
There's
a bit
the Azir.
more difficult. There is the Azir that we talked about.
Yep.
But it does mean they picked a safe blind ball mid laner, which gives them the option to be a bit more flexible up towards the top side. So maybe Oscar Winning isn't just going to look to something like the Cassante. Maybe he'll look to try and win that 1v1 or the 2v2 that may erupt up towards the top side of the map.
I wonder if SK will go for the Akali once more for Certus. He could, of course, pick, well, something a little bit safer like the Talia. The pair up alongside the Vi can be very effective, of course. You throw out the ultimate and then you're pretty much guaranteed that knockback with the E into the W combo. And also, Talia can match Azir's early push ability and look for those early roams. So potentially SK looking to play through bots. But maybe they even want to lock in something like a carry top on the top side of the map for Irrelevant. With Gnar gone, something that he did play a huge amount of last split, he's instead going to go for the Renekton. This can be a very strong top-sided focus for SK. Talia Renekton used to be a very prominent mid-jungle duo, top jungle duo that we would often see.
Yeah, Talia jungle for a little while as well.
That's what I'm saying, Talia jungle, Renekton top.
Oh yeah, but you could also play Renekton mid. We saw that for a bit as well.
True,
So,
true, yeah. Main point stands. Chain CC, or point and click CC paired up with Talia, very effective.
Very powerful. And Gangplank will be locked in for Oscar in that top lane. It is a carry. It does give you potential to scale as the game goes on. There's a huge amount of scaling on Fnatic.
It is just a heavy scaling teamfight composition from Fnatic. Yep. Yesterday, I think we saw them struggle a lot. I think that Fnatic have a lot of range to play with. They have a lot of tools to make life difficult for something like an Aphelios. Gangplank ultimate against low mobility champions is incredibly effective. And I think that you put a lot of responsibility on SK to find early game advantages, especially when we look at this Gangplank. One of the things that used to say about the champion is as long as you can survive to 6, usually you're doing pretty well, but teams would often stack a wave and look to dive the GP very early. And with the composition that SK have, it's very likely that they'll try and do that with their ability to get the early prio in mid, their dive threat they have on the top side of the map. A lot of threat can be posed towards Oscar Rin. And remember, yesterday, he didn't have the best showing. He did end up dying in the 1v1 against Odoamne. You were talking about it earlier. So pressure may be on him once again to try and weather the storm of the early game. We'll see how they do. SK's early game has not really been the strongest for a while, and perhaps something that Fnatic can look to exploit as they try to match them in the 5v5, which really has been SK's homegrown advantage and place where they found a lot of success.
A lot on the line you have to feel for Fnatic. Like, there's a degree of coming out of the gate swinging. They failed yesterday against Excel. Today we'll see if they can start their comeback, start their fight back against SK. Even something just a little bit more positive this game, even if they do end up losing it, would be a good sign for the rest of the split. But let's get on to the Rift. It's lights out, and away we go once again as SK and Fnatic walk out here.
And they're off.
In Lodal, you can also do quotes, by the way. The chicken or the egg? Actually, I came first. Which League of Legends champion says that?
Oh, I've heard that before.
Anyone there know? It's a Nivea.
Is it a Nivea?
Yeah, crowd knows it. Crowd knows it. Crowd's smart.
I thought that was too easy. I was thinking that it wasn't a Nivea.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, you're too smart for the quiz.
Yeah, I am.
Benny, just, you're giga-braining out here. It's like, oh, it's definitely a Nivea, but that's too easy for
The quote that's stuck in my head right now is that a short joke?
Yeah.
I'm playing a lot of Vigar, or as I like to call him,
Vigar.
Farm Simulator. The rest of the map is in chaos, and I'm having a great time stacking my passive.
That's all you got to do.
It's a lot of fun.
Grab it on second, get that AP up there.
Now,
we did see Fnatic pushing towards the bottom lane in the early game. As expected, Advienne and Reckless just want the prio in that lane to make sure they can keep Thresh and Aphelios on the back foot.
yeah, a bit of information, but also a bit of information gained by SK as well to figure out where exactly that starting position will be for Razork, as both junglers look to start on the bot side of the map. Again, this could be something that we'll keep our eyes on. Will SK look to actually attack this Gangplank early on the top side of the map? As Markoon will start on his Raptors, may very well do a full clear up bot side into potential bot side gank. We'll keep our eyes on what the junglers are up to. Early Vision invested actually a lot in the river here from Fnatic. They're concerned about a potential early invade, as our observers are highlighting it for us right now. Thank you very much, observers. But basically just providing that extra bit of security and safety. You can see that ward placed much earlier as well for that potential well, we saw it before, right? Where you move into the tri-burst at level 1, and then you move into potentially collapse on the teams that always try to then get the early prio in the bot lane. So, makes a lot of sense. As Razork now pathing up towards topside, Markoon doing his full clear bot. I wonder if he will